The David Pakman Show recently talked about this flood of junior level Republican prosecutors, mostly at the state level, who just want to get Biden for something like as retaliation for Trump. Now, by the way, in and of itself, that's illegal. That's illegal. If you're specifically trying to get a prosecution to retaliate against somebody else's prosecution, that is obstruction of justice. Even if you are the prosecutor. In fact, especially if you're the prosecutor, that's going to have to be hashed out. And we're going to have to get those folks and boot them out. And probably, if we can prove that they were doing that, charge them. That is, if they even exist, because I haven't heard from these prosecutors. I've only heard politicians talking about prosecutors that want to do this. But maybe they exist. Maybe. But I'll tell you what, Republicans, you're out there. I have at least one Republican ear hearing me. Let me tell you something. You can't get Biden. He's in office right now. Joe Biden could come to your house and shoot your dog in front of you, and you can't do anything about it because he can't be charged while he's president. And I want to help you change that. Yes, sir. I want to help you be able to prosecute Joe Biden, whether he's in office or not. The reality is, 2024 is not looking great for Republicans. I don't know what you heard, but the country's sick of your bullshit, which means that it's very likely, not guaranteed, certainly. Lord knows I learned after 2016, not guaranteed that Joe Biden will stay in office. Hell, it's not even guaranteed that he's running, but still, odds are, if you're looking at the future, you got another 6 years of Biden. That's a lot of statute of limitations expiring. It's a lot of stuff you might be able to maybe get him on that you won't be able to. Unless the Office of Legal Counsel changes an opinion that they have held for a very long time. And I want to help you get a sitting president if it turns out that they broke a law. But first, let's see what David Pakman had to say about this most recent, or the David Pakman Show had to say about this most recent phenomenon.
Hey everybody, welcome to the David Pakman Show. I'm producer Pat Ford filling in for David today. David is on vacation for much of this week. He will be back on Friday. A number of Republicans are calling for the arrest of Joe Biden and also Hunter Biden and any other Democrats that they can possibly trump up charges against as a way to retaliate against Donald Trump getting indicted and then arrested last week in New York. Now, what issues do they want to arrest Biden and these other Democrats over? That's not as important. They just want to do this because they see it as a way to get vindication, right? Because Donald Trump, for once in his entire life, is finally being held accountable to some degree, to some small degree, after his years and years of criminality. I spoke about this matter on last week's Friday.
Ooh, we're getting close to 20 likes. If we can get to 20 likes, we will do the bonus segment looking at a comedian heckling Joe Biden in a way that I was just tickled by, and I think very accurately describes how, generally speaking, the left feels about Joe Biden, and certainly from my experience, millennials in particular. Let's let this man keep going.
A bonus show, the award-winning, world-famous bonus show, I might add. But there have since been more Republicans adding to this chorus of right-wing calls to do something like this, to levy charges against Joe Biden and these other Democrats. First and foremost, we're hearing from Congressman James Comer, who chairs the House Oversight Committee. He went on Fox and Friends late last week to comment on how there are these district attorneys in places like Kentucky and Tennessee who are trying to come up with some way to charge the Bidens, even though they don't know what issue they're going to do it over. Let's take a look at this clip.
Before we hear the clip, I just want to say that guy should be dragged in front of a committee, any committee we can get him in front of, and asked under oath who said that, because it was illegal. Now, I think what we're going to find out, nobody said that to him. That's what I think we're going to find out. But I truly don't know. Maybe they did say it. But regardless, that's illegal. And no matter what side of the aisle you're on, you shouldn't support that. Just saying.
And I had 2 calls yesterday, one from a county attorney in Kentucky and one from a county attorney in Tennessee. They were Republican, obviously. Both states are heavily Republican. They want to know if there are ways they can go after the Bidens now. And they've opened up a can of worms. They've set precedents now that we can't go back on. And now we're going to see a judicial system that's already bogged down with doing what they're supposed to do, and that's going after real criminals, people that are committing real crime.
Now, what jurisdiction would these DAs have to indict Biden?
Yeah, I would have. He's going to say
there, of course, isn't any, because the crime would have had to take place in one of those 2 states.
Just to play devil's advocate, presumably that's why. Presumably, I have my doubts as to whether these people even exist, but presumably that's why they were calling Comer, to find out, hey, is there anything that would have been done in my neck of the woods that I could get this guy on? Again, that's an illegal phone call if it happened. And we should remember that in 2024 as well. When we, look at me, when we get a blue house in 2024, we should talk about this.
Remember Donald Trump's hush money payment that took place in New York City, and where are the charges coming from about this? You guessed it, New York City. The issues that Republicans talk about potentially indicting Biden on have to do with his supposed corruption, even though they really can't articulate it all that well, but they'll mention Ukraine or China or some other foreign country. Sometimes they'll talk about the classified documents scandal that implicated Joe Biden, even though Donald Trump is way more guilty on that topic. So if you're going to go after Biden on this, it stands to reason you'd also have to go after Donald Trump. If you do go after Biden on any of these topics, it would probably need to come from the federal governments, or at least involve the states in question, like the supposed crime.
Ooh, yes. I see in the comments. We're being told that the laptop is Russian disinfo. Are we talking about? Hunter Biden's laptop? Look, I'm super wary of Russian disinformation, and that is a serious thing to be concerned about. I don't think Hunter Biden's laptop is Russian disinformation, though. It's just not relevant. It's the president's kids' nudie pics, or it's possible evidence of crimes that have long since expired, such as hiring a prostitute or doing crack cocaine. We've seen no evidence to the contrary of that. And look, I don't care. The Justice Department wants to go after him. Like, if it's somehow still within the statute of limitations to hire a prostitute wherever he hired a prostitute, or to have done crack wherever he did that, which is what I'm told are the pictures of, in addition to just nude pictures of Hunter Biden. Sure, go get him. What do I care? By all means. But I don't believe it's Russian disinformation. If we're talking about other laptops being Russian disinfo, clarify for me. I'll look into it. Maybe it is.
Time that took place would have had to have taken place in one of these states. But the fact is that this has nothing to do with, trying to stay consistent or trying to uphold the rule of law or trying to, make sure that this is done in a proper way. It really is just about getting vindication. We're also now hearing from whiny, hysterical right-wing talk show host Mark Levin about this topic. He's also trying to get anyone to charge Joe Biden and the Democrats for what? Again, not important, but he just knows that it has to be done. Here's Mark Levin.
I despise Mark Levin, but we're going to listen to him. And hey, if we got any Republicans out there that are still listening after I've been giving you the business for the last couple of minutes, first of all, I respect you. Well done. Second of all, I have an item of mutual interest that we will discuss right after this, because I truly want to help you be able to prosecute Joe Biden in office, so you don't have to wait for him to get out of office. You can, if there is a case, if this guy is successful and he sways enough people in America and he gets the ear of a prosecutor bent his way. If he's successful, there's actually something that can be done about it. So I'm going to help you out. This is a channel where a lefty usually does pitches to lefties about what they can do about things. Well, guess what? Right now, I'm going to do a pitch to you two right-wingers about what you can do to throw Joe Biden's ass in prison right next to Trump. And I'll tell you, if that's the resolution we end up with both Trump and Biden in prison, I'd call it a B+ outcome. I wouldn't be heartbroken. I'd think, oh, that sort of waters down what Trump did, sort of undercuts the seriousness of Trump's crimes, which by the way include a coup d'etat in the United States of America. Real problematic fella. But I wouldn't be heartbroken. So I will tell you how. Here's Mark Levin saying some nonsense.
And once again, for multiple times, this show's heard all over the country. It's heard all over the world, actually. I'm asking Republican
Technically, so is this one.
prosecutors out there to take a very good look at your own statutes, local, state, and even federal, but particularly the state prosecutors, the DAs, the state prosecutors, and so forth. See if there's anything there that you can use to charge Biden or any senior Democrat official. I mean, if you're not 100% certain, you're 80% certain that it'll fly, then do it.
Yeah. For sure. Do it. I mean, you can't indict. You really can't. It's literally the OLC's opinion currently that you can indict. But if Republicans break that precedent, then the precedent's broken, and I want it broken regardless. So by all means, yeah, I don't think you're going to find anything. I don't think you're going to get to 80%. I don't think you're going to get to 5% certainty that you'll get this thing a guilty verdict in a court of law. But sure, charge the mother effer. If you honestly think he did something illegal, charge him. Yeah. And it really shouldn't be a taboo to hold our leaders accountable. And nobody that is supporting a politician, whether they are running or in office, should be afraid of that politician testifying in court. If you're afraid of that, why are you supporting them? What are you concerned will come out? I'm confident Joe Biden hadn't done anything illegal right now. But if he has, I don't want to find out in 2024. I want to find out now. And if I can't find out now, I certainly want to be able to find out before the election in 2024 so I can consider if I will still support him. By all means, charge him. Sure.
It's the only way this will stop. Do it.
That much I agree with. Let's talk about what you can do. All right, here's the promised bit. What can you do about this whole situation? Well, if you're on the left, you can tell your representatives that you want this hashed out. You want to find out who exactly are the prosecutors that are looking for a crime to charge Biden with, because that's illegal. We shouldn't have them. It just slipped into mid-Michigan for a second there. We shouldn't have those folks doing the job that they're doing because they're not operating honestly, and this job requires honest actors. I think it's too much to ask, but if you're a right-winger, you should also. Rather, it's not too much to ask, but I think it's not going to be listened to. I'll say it anyway. If you're a right-winger and you genuinely care about justice and you genuinely care about the Justice Department functioning equally for everybody, then yes, you should demand that of your representatives as well. But let's give something, a little candy just for the right-wingers. And lefties, I'm going to ask that you do the same thing. Link in the description. Write the Office of Legal Counsel. Tell them that the opinion they released in the 70s is wrong. Reverse their opinion that the DOJ still follows to this day, even after we've seen how flawed it is. Reverse their opinion that a sitting president cannot be indicted. There's no law that prevents us from indicting a sitting president. The founding fathers made no law that prevents us from indicting a sitting president. Right-wingers, you should be salivating at this. Go get them. Write the OLC. If you seriously want Joe Biden to be held criminally accountable for something, well, you're going to have to wait. You're going to have to wait till I and 78 other million Americans quit electing him president. And I'll tell you, right now, the way things are looking, he's got my vote for 24. I don't see how he's lost anybody else's vote for 24. I see him running against the guy he beat in 2020. And Trump's been acting crazier since 2020. Joe Biden beat Donald Trump before January 6th. Do you honestly think Donald Trump's going to beat Joe Biden in an election after the attempted coup? No, sir. So if you want Joe Biden held criminally accountable because you believe that in a court they will be able to prove that he did something criminal, well, guess what? You got no options until, at a minimum, 2028. I bet you don't want to wait that long. And I'll tell you, lefties, do you remember 2018, 2019? Do you remember seeing things that we believed to be crime and then being furious when nothing got done about it? If the principle was true then, that a president should not be immune from the law, then it's true now, too. And as I say on this channel all the time, look, right-wingers, we don't have to like each other to work towards items of mutual interest. Left-wingers, we don't have to like each other. We don't have to like them. We don't have to like those folks. We can still have things that are of mutual interest. And generally speaking, it sounds like to me, if I'm hearing the voices on the ground correctly, it sounds to me like some of you MAGA folks might just want presidents in general to be subject to the same justice system that we are. I agree. Look at that. We might knife fight after this in an alleyway. Who knows? We are not going to get along as people. But as people who agree on one item, that presidents ain't special, and the hell with them anyway, we can work together. Right now, in Ukraine, there is actual Nazis, like people that agree with Nazi rhetoric, and they are fighting on both sides of that war. Just like in the United States, we have those guys that, attend a training session. Well, I don't know why I'm quoting that. Literally train with guns in the woods and have swastikas sewn in to their jackets. What would happen if we got invaded? We wouldn't say no to those groups who are already armed and already familiar with playing Rambo in the woods, fighting off the invaders. Ukraine's doing the same thing with their psychopaths. And we have the Wagner Group, who are famous for, hiring exactly what you'd imagine a group called the Wagner Group hiring. They're fighting for the Ruskies. My point is, when there are things that are this momentous, that are this basic, it behooves us all to join up with our socioeconomic class, which is to say, for Americans in this scenario, literally everybody who's not the president. and insist that what we care about be tended to. We can do this. I would love, if you're a right-winger out there, I would just love it if you would let me know that you did this. I want to reach out to you on these topics because, believe it or not, despite the fact that I believe the country should be working towards a socialist utopia, I surely do believe that. And I just presume you want, us all to worship Elon Musk at a church. I'm being facetious. Whatever it is you want, I assume it's very different than what I want. But in both of our dream scenarios, it sounds to me like the president is not above the law. So write the OLC. Link is in the description. Help us make it so that a president is treated no differently than everybody else. Make sure the OLC's opinion gets reversed. Please and thank you. We can do it. Got to get a little creative.